Coach Brian here from the Ideal Collaborative and Cutthroat CrossFit to talk to you about considerations for
strength and conditioning training for athletes. And what I am talking about here is, when I say athletes, is power athletes. So field athletes like football players, hockey players, baseball players, volleyball, those type of sports. I'm not talking about some of your longer distance events such as marathon running or tri here. Anyway, gotten a lot of questions from parents about, hey, what should I be doing in season? Should I just be taking the whole day off? And I just want to talk about it a little bit. So no matter what the sport is, in the off season, we try to focus on a lot of these things. And it's structured into training blocks. So say you get 4 months off in the off season. Each one of these things would be split into different periods there. So if you're talking in the example of 4 months, you might take a whole month to do general physical preparedness and increase their work capacity. The next month would be for hypertrophy training or for football athletes, making their muscles bigger. And then taking that increased size and then turning it into strength, because those of you guys that don't know, a bigger muscle isn't necessarily a stronger muscle. And then we'd come into some sort of peaking phase depending on what the sport coach kind of wants for going into season. But what we're doing here in this whole off season is finding out what the athlete's MRV is, or their maximum recoverable volume. Okay, so we push athletes to find out, hey, how hard can we go and still recover and get benefit from this training program? So there's a lot of canned training programs out there that have decided that this is humans' recoverable volume. We have found through years and years of practice here that this isn't necessarily a case for all humans, and we have to take it team by team or individual by individual. We can adjust the training program for that. Now, once we've kind of decided what that is, and when we head into season, so let's say we're talking about football season or hockey season, we're not going to be doing off field in the weight room our maximum recoverable volume all the time, because then, maybe we're tired legs on the field, or we're not ready for the game come the weekend. So what do? We go into a maintenance phase, which is actually the minimum effective volume to hold on to some of these strength gains that we've made in the off season. We want to limit those losses to about 10%, maybe 15% in some cases. And we can do that on a program with 2 to 3 days a week in the weight room. We're not going to focus on a ton of GPP just because the general physical preparedness is no longer as valid as a specific physical preparedness, which is being achieved by the sport coach on the field. So we're not going to be doing as much general conditioning as we are just strength maintenance training. But it does have to happen, okay? If you don't squat for the entire season, you will lose fitness, strength, explosive power. And I just use the squat as one example. We have a set of exercises that we need to maintain. So we do need to train during season. Just the volume of training gets reduced a little bit. So let's say we're talking about a sport like baseball or basketball that just has a ton of games all the time. We still do need to train, maybe even right after the game or the day after the game, because then we get that rest and we're coming back into it. So let's say we have 4 days of games. We know that the day before that 4 days of games, we don't really want to train, but the day after, we might be able to train just a little bit. But I'm not saying that that is the exact answer, because it's very, very schedule dependent. But the answer is not to take off from the weight room entirely. We have to stay in the weight room for just this minimum effective dose in order to maintain strength levels, because then we're staying healthy, we're preventing injury, this, that, and the other, but we're not working as hard as we would work in the off season. So we're not tired. Now, if we've established this work capacity
going into season, we can maintain that, and we shouldn't be feeling like our legs are trashed when we do reduce the volume going into games. So I could go on and on about this topic, but I'm trying to keep this video to about 5 minutes, so I'm going to cut it there. But if you guys want to email me, call me, message me, DM me, whatever, Brian@idealcollaborative.com, or you can find me on Instagram, ICBrianB, @ICBrianB, or give the gym a call. Happy to answer all your questions. Thanks.